Hi everyone, welcome to the Hub's 10th podcast, and this month we are talking all about mindset, motivation and people. Reason being is because we are back now into a new world, in my opinion, and a lot of you within the community have mentioned on how you are feeling when it comes to that work-life balance and just feeling motivated. A lot of fatigue is setting in at the moment. So I have the amazing Katie as my coach. So I've invited Katie along today to basically share her expertise on how she can help with that. If you are part of the Hub, you would have seen that we did a webinar last week about key motivators in the business, talking about vision and alignment and key motivators. So this is a little bit deeper than that when we're talking about that work-life balance. And Katie is the expert in that, in looking at your energies and looking into the mind and the soul before the body. Because we don't want to be burnt out, we don't want to feel tired, and we don't want to have that lack of creativity. We want to be our best selves. So Katie, if you just want to introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit more about why balancing is so important within business and the feminine energy.
Okay, hi guys. Yeah, Katie Ford here. So mind and body coach, also with a sprinkle of soul in there. I moved into doing more mindset around about 3 years ago, being a personal trainer for 18 years, and saw the missing kind of element of mindset. And then I now sprinkle some soul in there to basically help people be the best selves. And my little motto is, this is me. So how do you become the best version of yourself and be able to say, do you know what, this is me?
And you definitely do that. Definitely. If you've not seen Katie's work before, if you do search coaching with Katie Ford or Katie Ford personal profile or hashtag this is me program, it will come up. Or if you're actually on my social feeds as well, you will see that, because we have been a part of the program and we do champion it. So definitely go and check it out, guys. So tell me a little bit more about why you think balancing and this feminine energy needs to come into the business, Katie, to avoid how people are feeling at the moment.
Okay, so first of all, we often think about feminine energy as being female, and this is not true. It's not about gender. Within everybody, you have a feminine and masculine energy. But why I'm quite passionate of this, from my own journey, which maybe we'll talk about in a bit, but also being in business, being entrepreneurial, we are, and on a daily basis, we are more in the masculine energy. So if you look at it like a seesaw, generally being in business, this is your feminine energy and this is your masculine energy as you're working. Masculine energy is all about kind of doing the do, being productive, being in your logical brain, basically working towards a goal, and just kind of wanting to kind of move forward, which has obviously got its benefits. But when we are often in that energy all the time, and being in business, it's very hard to switch off, very hard. This is something that is a tool in itself, switching off. So we just end up more in this masculine energy. And also, just to give a little bit of background, culturally, we are more in masculine energy. The way the modern world is now, with all the smartphones, with the way that we are more in a man-made society, we are more in masculine energy. And also masculine energy is seen as success, or seen as success, and seen as being someone that's like, that's doing, and they're successful. We look at that and we're like, oh, wow. But to feel, and I guess I experienced this with clients, and I've also experienced it with myself, is the feelings of when you know you're more in masculine energy are symptoms of burnout, feeling like you are lacking in energy, feeling tired, feeling like you have maybe all the ideas, but you are just not able to implement them, or sometimes just feeling, a massive one is just feeling off center. You know, when you just feel that you are just, something's not right. That is a massive kind of representation of being more in the masculine energy. And we don't really get taught this. And it's quite simple. It's quite a simple thing to do to start to exercise your feminine energy. But it's something you've got to be aware of to be able to do. And why? Because your business will grow and will succeed more because you are your business. Mm-hmm. You are the main element and factor and driving force behind your business, driving force being the masculine energy. And so when we do start to take this more, when we start to implement this, it can totally evolve and change like who you are and your business, and really kind of enjoy your business life better.
So I know from experience that for me is difficult to do. So how is best to do that? How can you best get into the energy? And I think this sometimes happens when mindset's talked about, self-love's talked about. I watched Stephen from Dragon's Den's Instagram this morning, and he was talking about your ego and self-love and things. But I always say, as you know, Kate, I was like, well, how do you actually do that? Like, because people will say to me, like, you're very driven. I wish I could have some of your drive. And I was like, well, I can try and help you with that. But I think you either have that or you don't. You have even more masculine energy than feminine energy, or for me, or you vice versa. And I know you would disagree with that, because I know from your background, you've been to the end of the scale with the masculine energy that I have. So how do you bring it back? How do you get this seesaw that you've spoken about to be more balanced for our listeners, to help them if they're feeling this burnout at the moment?
Okay, so firstly, to answer what you were saying is, you're always going to have a default, all right, because we come from our environment, the way that we're brought up, and then also our personality and our identity. So we probably, we do default more towards one or the other. But generally, like I said, as a culture, we are more in the environment of masculine energy. So yes, I do agree with you that we have like a default, all right? And how do we actually kind of, what's it look like? Okay, let's bring it back to the real, like what happens and what do we do on a daily basis, and how do we kind of like move more into this feminine energy? So no, you're not going to be floating around in bloody skirts and doing all this, because obviously I'm not going to be up for that. Because as soon as we think feminine energy, we think kind of more that entity. Isn't it? It's really, really simple. So a couple of things are like spending time in reflection, because sometimes in business, it's so important to have reflection time, and also listening to your body, your feelings, your emotions, because as business people, we don't spend time doing that. Because sometimes, and what I experience with clients is, it can be a bit of a challenging time to kind of listen to what you're feeling like. Because it's like, at the end of the day, we haven't got time. We've got to get on with it. Next day, get on, do the do. But in my own experience, connecting to feelings, reflecting, even let's take it to the business. So reflecting on kind of like what's happening. And also, but one of the big things is like, actually, how am I feeling? Am I in alignment? I mean, that's a whole different podcast, but in alignment, meaning you can tell when things feel sticky and not right. In other words, you've signed that business deal, or you've made that decision. If you were more in your feminine energy, so if you were, let's just say the seesaw is balanced between these energies, you're better at decision making. You're better at making what's right for you. But how do you do that if you don't sit kind of and having those moments of reflection and connecting to yourself with your emotions? So reflection, that moves into the next one is kind of getting out in nature. So feminine energy is really about kind of, well, nature, Mother Earth. That's why we call it Mother Earth. Okay. So, and being present when you do it. And also, because I know myself personally, back 4 or 5 years ago, if someone had said to me to help my business to go for a walk, I'd have told them to go tickle, because it'd have been like, what are you on about? That's not the doing. I'm not doing something. It's being able to remove the shame and the guilt that we feel by slowing down. Mm-hmm. Because it's like a bow and arrow, okay? If we pull back, slow down, I promise you, from my own experience then working with clients, you will propel further. You'll propel further because you'll probably have not gone this way. You've not gone in all different directions. You've been able to understand, well, that's the direction I need to go. Mm-hmm. And that kind of comes into being present as well. Mm-hmm. Because big thing that I experienced when coaching, like business, people in business, is they'll say, oh yeah, well, I have my weekends off. But they don't switch off. There's a difference between being off and actually being present and switching off. Mm-hmm. It's better to do half an hour in your weekend that actually means that you've actually gone for a walk, you're looking at the trees, you're absorbing, and you are totally being present with yourself. Obviously, that then comes into things like stopping. For some people, this is really helpful, meditating, mindfulness when doing things. But we and I can say this because I was the exact person that just used to think slowing down was being lazy. Like, that's lazy. You don't do that. I'm not doing. And it is totally the opposite. It's totally the opposite because it gives you space, clarity to be able to move forward. And other things are feminine energy is about creativity. So it's like, are you spending time getting creative? So actually having time out to actually just down tool, be out of your business, take yourself to a new environment, and get really creative in that sense. That's kind of more the feminine energy. It's starting to, and it's kind of like where you will dream up new ideas, because we've all been sat on a sun lounger on holiday and in drops in that like bang of an idea. Like that's not coincidence. That's because actually the brain has stopped for a bit. And this is where I say I do soul work, and then the soul shouts out to you, or the higher self goes, that's the business idea. And then you go, okay, cool. Now imagine being able to have those mini holidays every day because you give yourself space. Mm-hmm. And that's when the magic happens. Other things are like emotional expression. So this is kind of like where coaching comes in. So for me, I've always had a coach, a business coach, or a personal coach, because to express emotion is the feminine energy. Mm-hmm. And we're taught, especially in the UK, stiff upper lip, get on with shit, everything's all right, there's someone else worse than me, okay? Mm-hmm. Which kind of ain't looking after ourselves, is it? It's not looking after who we are. So it's like having a coach and having a space and a platform to express your emotions, or if not, having that person. We've all got that person that we know we can be vulnerable with. We can share exactly how we feel. So yeah, connecting with those emotions is a massive one. Also as well, spontaneity, playing, connecting with your inner child. Actually, I mean, because we've all seen the kids that are playing, they aren't thinking about anything else other than like when they are playing. Like, whereas like as an adult, we forget to be in their moments, and they're your moments of what we call flow. Mm-hmm. So where you are not thinking about anything else. Mm-hmm. And that then, if you imagine yourself like a bit like a pressure cooker, because generally when you are very driven and successful, and absolute kudos to you, but you're like a pressure cooker, you're not able to think clear. You need to create space, which is what flow does, and these spontaneous playful moments where you're not thinking about your colleagues, you're not thinking about anything else, you're just thinking about when you're going to bat that ball or kick that football or dance or whatever it be that feels like play to you. That's all individual. Transformation is feminine energy. So actually transforming yourself is a matter of connecting to self, understanding self. That is all going to help, because the more that you work on self, the more that your business is gonna grow. So they're like the main things really that help us to and being connected, being social as well, making time to have to connect with people, because we see like women, that we always talk about women over the washing line, don't we? Chat. So it's like being able to be in that environment as well. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I had a one-to-one with somebody earlier this week, and he mentioned about humans being social beings. And again, I thought to myself, you know, when someone makes a comment and doesn't really register.
Yeah.
But when then I thought about it, and then I was in another conversation this morning with a client called Mark, he actually said, I didn't really want to come back into the room. And I had the conversation, I said, I wouldn't expect that. You are the most social person I know. Everybody knows Mark. And he just said, I just didn't feel comfortable. And I said, well, actually, if you put it into realistic terms, what's happened with your personality is you've been put in a room with nobody else other than yourself, because he lives on his own like me. I says, and now they've asked you to go back into society, and you've created your own wall, you've created your own safe space. I said, but what I see as an outsider is you're doing yourself a disservice by not becoming that social being that everybody knows and loves. And sometimes that awareness, like Katie has mentioned, about having that person to speak to, or having that person that can just check in and be like, are you all right? Like, I've had a few voice notes from Katie in the past going, so I just feel like there's something wrong. Do you want to tell me about it? And I'm like, Albert, does she know that? I'd be like, yeah, well, this is happening. And you were like, oh my God, that's quite major, Zoe. And I'm like, is it? Yeah. Oh, it's because I come definitely from my upbringing, being told to suck it up and get on with it. And that is my coping mechanism. So being more aware is definitely something that I've taken more on. And I still believe I'm way in the masculine energy space. And I do put my toe in a little bit and then run back to my safe place. But I think it's important of being that present and being mindful. And I mean, Katie might not remember, but I know when Katie gave me that technique about being present and going on a walk, I said to Katie via text, I can't remember the last time I heard the birds tweet. And I remember you replying, well, like, really? Oh my God. And instead of saying, oh my God, as if, she just went, oh my God, that's amazing. So it's not about criticism, it's about awareness, and it's about kind of being present as much as you can and trying to balance that field back. And it did make me laugh, and I wrote it down, archery. No word of a lie, guys, I went on a hen do and did archery, and could I bugger it, get the frigging thing in the centre? I just kept going over it, side of it, under it, in the grass, you name it. And I've only just thought, maybe, just maybe, Zoe, you was in a little bit of masculine space there, or a little bit like the fight or flight space. So that did make me chuckle. So even I've learned something today, that maybe when I was doing archery, I needed to slow down a little bit. But it was really fun, all the same. So you've shared how people can get into that space, Katie. So just before we wrap up, what are the key benefits when they go into that space? How can this help them turn this feeling around of burnout and feeling tired? Because I know a lot of members in the hub are feeling that at the moment. So knowledge is power, as you know, that's something I always say. So what are the key benefits by going into this space and doing a few of these activities that you've shared with them this morning?
Yeah, so the benefits are going to be that, well, first of all, energy levels are going to rise. So, and this is something to say is just get curious. Like, it's not something like, especially in business, we're like, I think we've got to get it right. It's got to be something that this is just what I've shared will maybe open up light bulb moments and things to say, hang on a minute, that that resonates with me in some way. So the things that you're gonna feel is, I mean, if you've got more energy, your business has more energy. Like something that I share in my coaching, we are all energy. Everything is. So if you've got more energy, your business has got more energy, you're going to be more successful, you're going to make those better decisions, and life's just going to flow better. And because we're here for, at the end of the day, we're in this body once, and it's like, it is so important to feel in alignment and flow with what you're doing. And everybody's had those moments in business where you're like, wow, the deal's ticked, the right person comes in that you need to help with something. That is your own energy. So this is not just about, yes, the literal is getting up with more of probably a spring in your step, but this is about actually feeling more aligned. So in terms of physically, you're just going to feel more radiant. You're going to feel like you're healthier, because being a balance of that feminine and masculine energy, it's scientifically proven that you are going to feel more whole. So everything's going to benefit. Everything.
Amazing. And guys, even I'm learning as we're going on with this podcast episode. So if you see or hear some scribbles, that's exactly what I'm doing, because I want you guys to get the most benefit out of this, because I know how much Kate is invested in this topic. I know how much she lives and breathes this topic, and how it can help you. And it's not an instant fix. That's what I would share in terms of reflection. It's about practicing it as much as you can, and not giving yourself a hard time if you take a break, for example, and then go back to it. This is something that you have to create that balance with that works for you. You also might be mindful that you don't know what your energy is, whether it's masculine or feminine. So a bit of a top tip that I would share with you that made me realise what my energy was, which is something that Katie told me to do, was actually, well, is it the people that I looked up to within the family? Very masculine energy. My dad, my nan, the head of the family, the matriarch of the family. Who do I look up to in business? Stephen from Dragon's Den. Mel Robinson, if you listen to Mel Robinson, very masculine energy, tells you what to do, doesn't really give you an option. These are the top 10 tips. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. So just being present and just actually looking at your own self and thinking, well, which energy space am I in? And that may answer it for you. And if you do feel it's too masculine, this will help you bring it back onto that seesaw and a little bit more of an even keel.
And I think just to share that it's all ebb and flow. It's all ebb and flow. So it's not just that you're going to be one or the other. So just to really explain as well, there's going to be times in your business that you have no option but to be in the masculine energy. Masculine energy is amazing as well. Like they're both. What I'm saying is it's about balance. We all know when there's that deadline to hit. We all know when there's like stress, like I'm going to stress it fan. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's when it's time to step into more what I've been talking about, so that then you balance, you can refresh, you can start to reflect, you can start to maybe use these elements. So we're all movement, we're moving energy all the time. So it's then realizing that, you know what, I get why I'm exhausted. I get why things aren't working. I get why everything feels like it's like pushing against me. I've got resistance there. So that's when you can then be like, okay, what do I need to do? Because we think by doing more is going to help. And actually, I'm here to share and help you to feel less shame and kind of beat yourself up for slowing down and for looking at more of what we've talked about today, and then try it. See what happens. I hope that it changes your business and that you get lots of success from it, because we're winning.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's about balance. It's about looking at your energy and being your best self, and that'll, like Katie has mentioned, come back into your business. So I know how to get hold of Katie. If I'm listening to this, like I've said, I've made loads of notes and I'm sure we'll have more conversations after this podcast. But for anyone listening to this, Katie, if they wanted to come and learn more about you and what you do, how would they do that? I know you've got a lot of things going on at the moment. So if you want to share about This Is Me, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, how do you get in contact with me? So my personal page, I do have a business page, but I generally work from my personal page. So it's just Katie Ford on Facebook. Drop us a message. But I put a lot of content on my page, just more about this stuff, more about lots of life stuff, things like that. So that's where to see what I do. What I do. So if people are interested in more what I do, I can do basically a breakthrough call. I do one-to-one coaching, which covers your mind, body, soul, and I also look at obviously more the business side as well. So I meet the person where they're at. Basically, I'm just trying to get the best out of you. All right. And I also I'm just starting doing my group coaching. This is just for women though, which is my This Is Me program, where it's all about women finding themselves, getting your confidence back, kind of getting that sparkle back. And for people that are feeling lost really and want to just connect back themselves and take away, that's a 5-week program. And you're going to take away tools. We talk about different tools. We talk about things like your inner critic. So how do you stop that chatter in your head? How do you become more comfortable in your body? And from that, you can then use those tools and implement into everyday life. So I'm really excited about starting that again in June, because I ran a pilot last year and it went amazing. And the women got such amazing. It's basically, I've been told I have to run it again. So it was like, right, get my bum in gear and get the This Is Me back launch. So I'm really excited to be launching that. So if people are interested, just literally scroll down my page. There's a link, a Google form, and I will get in touch with you and we can have a chat.
Amazing. And I think that's testament, isn't it, guys? If you're good at what you do, your customers will tell you to do it again and again and again. So thank you for joining me this morning, Katie, to talk about mindset and balance within the business. This will go live on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Play, and Google Play. So do watch it back, guys. Do comment on the feed with any key takeaways that you've given. It will be posted in the hub as well. And if you want to know more about the hub, just go to askzoe.co.uk and you'll find all of our services on the website, and you can just book a call and we can talk about it more. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Have an amazing weekend and we'll see you soon.